Rams Nation. Ahkello Witherspoon has been re-signed, plus tons of other former Rams. And do we have a new inside linebacker? And we'll talk about it much more on today's free agency episode here on the Rams Up Podcast. All right, what's going on, Rams Nation? I'm Ian, that's Mark, and we have a special guest today, Mr. Farbod. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, brother. Thanks for asking. Let's go.
Heck yeah, and Rams Nation, like, subscribe, share this video and podcast with all your fellow Rams and football fans. We very much appreciate it. But, woo, a lot of fun stuff happened today, gentlemen, as Ahkello Witherspoon, our friend Jake of the channel's favorite player, and someone who I was a big proponent of, like, hey, re-sign that freaking guy, please, as Ahkello Witherspoon, thank God, is back with the Rams here. As I pull up the correct graphic, Witherspoon is back, as he got an insanely cheap deal, Rams Nation, as $3 million with incentives. I mean, he was getting vet minimum money, and again, I'm sure Mike Florio will get his hands on the contract and get all the nitty gritty as he always does. But holy crap, what a stupid, dirt cheap deal for a good corner, right, Mark?
Yeah, it gets us back to where we were at the end of the year. Our cornerback group is kind of set. I still think there's some room for improvement. I don't know if you guys are going to agree with me. I'm still hoping we make that a priority in the draft. But at least I think what the Rams are doing here with these signings, in my opinion, what any good team does, what any good general manager does, is give him some flexibility come draft day, right? He's not forced to drafting for a specific position. And Witherspoon, gives us some wiggle room in the cornerback room, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. What about you, dude?
Yeah, I mean, I just find it really interesting. It's another 1-year deal. What is that? 3 straight 1-year deals. It's like, what do we not see in him to give him at least a 2-year deal or even 3? Like, what else can this guy do for us? I feel like he's been so solid. I'm so glad we got him back. Don't get me wrong. It's excellent. It's an excellent move by Snead. It's a value signing, like you pointed out, Ian. It's dirt cheap, man. Love it for us. But man, I kind of feel for the guy. It's like he's done it all for us almost. But he's back, and like Mark pointed out, it alleviates us having a major gap because cornerback was a big one. So we'll see how the draft goes. We got flexibility, BPA always.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, Rams Nation, how they deploy this group of corners. So now think of it big picture wise, okay? We have Ahkello on a vet minimum with incentives, basically. Again, we'll find out the nitty gritty of it, but if I had to put some betting dollars on it, I would assume it would be that. So you have him. You have Darius Williams on an affordable good deal for a starting level corner, and a lot of people are kind of 50-50 on him. I thought he had a nice season. Was it 2020 D Will? Of course not. Duh. I mean, that was many years ago now. Jesus, that was 5 seasons ago we're approaching. Still a starting corner, in my opinion. Luckily, Jacoby Durant started to really pop off and play good as he was rotating in with Darius Williams. So we have those 3 guys that primarily play on the outside. Great. Then you have Quinn Lake. You have Cameron Curl. You have Jalen McCullough. You have Emmanuel Forbes, we claimed off waivers, the Washington Commanders' former first-round pick. Daron Kendrick, we're going to see what his knee injury status is, a full year removed from blowing that thing out before training camp, unfortunately for him. Travis Hodges-Tomlinson's gone, and we'll keep drafting guys. That's just how the nature of this business is. But as a full group right there, plus Cameron Kitchens, let me not forget about him. I don't know why I blanked on his name. It's a good group, in my opinion. A group that could have competed for a Super Bowl last season. But it's year to year. This NFL business, not for long. A guy can just suddenly suck. It's just a reality. Any of these guys we just named that were playing good football in the playoff tournament, they could all just be terrible this upcoming season. Very unlikely, but it happens. So we'll see. And there's a lot of low risk with all the money invested with all these guys. Rookie contracts, D Will's got probably the most money, but even that's not a whole lot. And then Ahkello again, vet minimum, I assume, with the incentive. So we're in a good spot. Everything's still available. A corner pops off, gets cut. We can still add him. No problem. The money's not. There's no Jalen Ramsey contract that's absorbing a lot of the spending dollars in that group. But I know our cap amount and our spending money right now is kind of low. But I like it. Needed to happen, and I think our good friend Jacob, our friend Jake of the channel, excuse me, he had mentioned when I was kind of chatting in previous times talking about Ahkello, not recently, maybe like a year or so ago, that he had said like he hadn't had a full training camp with us, even these 2 past seasons with us. I'm like, damn, it's pretty hardcore. So he'll finally get a full off season. Hopefully, no BS injuries knock on my wood table right now in front of me. But we'll see. But I like the signing, Rams decision. Yep, that's good luck right there. And we'll see what happens. But again, for anyone who was unaware of the football universe in Rams land, Ahkello Witherspoon is back on a nice deal. Thank God.
Love it.
All right. So as we move forward here, Rams Nation, another signing, re-signing that happened was somebody who we haven't seen play football for us and feels like forever, is defensive tackle Larrell Murchison. He is back on a 1-year deal as well, as he had, remind me, Mark, you have to remind me exactly what injury it was. It was a neck injury, correct? That had kept him out a long time. And then when he came back,
and then,
he hurt his leg.
right.
Wasn't that it? He broke his leg?
Yeah, I think it might have been his toe or something.
Yeah,
I'm not
something
sure,
like that.
but it's like I think it was day 1 back from the original injury. He immediately hurt himself,
Brutal.
and I think this is it on the surface it doesn't seem like a big deal, but I think he's our 6th guy basically. I feel really good about this rotation now. Our starting 3 are really good, and you got Murchison and Tyler Davis, throw in Deshaun Johnson. And again, it just puts us in a really good spot in the draft. I could see us drafting a defensive lineman for sure, but it's a pretty good unit now with Murchison back, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. What about you, Farbod?
Solid depth. Like you said, Mark, we got all these guys. The starters are top tier, but they gotta, of course, be rotated out eventually, right? They're gonna get tired, and when it does get deep into that time frame in the game that they need a break, boom, you got Larrell Murchison. He can come in and take the load off, even for a few snaps. He's not gonna play 70% of the snaps. Come on, guys, but at the end of the day, he'll give us 5-10 maybe, and then he'll call it a day. We won't hopefully drop off that much.
Yeah, straight up. And look at if we go down the lineup right here, Rams Nation, off the top of my head. So we have here, it'll now be Poona Ford in the middle. Still excited about that. Watch his highlights, everyone. It's fun. So we got him. It'll be Kobe Turner and Braden Fisk, the 3 main D tackles. Again, Poona being the nose, head up with the center. Kobe and Fisk a little more outside. When we did our Poona Ford signing video, check that video out. I have a better description of the 3-4 scheme. You can see a visualization of that, Rams Nation. So we have them 3, okay? But then who are the guys rotating in? As Neville Gallimore left to Indianapolis, and Michael Hoyt, obviously he's an outside linebacker, but that's someone part of that front that's going. So we need bodies. And hey, when he came over from the Tennessee Titans, he was somebody that when he stepped in, he started making plays. You remember that 2022 disaster season? He was in there like on a couple days of practice, getting big tackles for loss and a couple Jimmy Garoppolo, quarterback hits. Or not Jimmy Garoppolo, Jesus. That 2022 season, who was the quarterback that year? I'm blanking
Baker?
on it. No, for the 49ers. For the 49ers. Oh. Whatever. I'm not going to ponder on it. He was making big plays, and I was like, oh, damn. All right. Well, that's nice to see. Just a dude off not the street. He was with the team, but just fill right in and could play. So for him to not play football for literally an entire season and for them to still want him back after dealing with injuries, so the Rams bail on guys who had injury problems like no tomorrow. And I get it, but they haven't bailed on him yet. And again, 1-year deal, nothing crazy, but that's a good sign from what they believe, what they see from him, who he is as a person, all those things that matter in a McVay less need culture that we have here. So good. We need bodies. So it'll be him, Tyler Davis. It'll be others I'm blanking names on right now. And, we'll keep adding guys. It's just how this business goes. So cool. Hopefully that works out. And he does not break anything else, please.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. And then somebody else who is back on a short deal, but who is valuable to the depth of this team, is running back Ronnie Rivers, who started a game, that disaster 2022 season against the Niners. Speaking of that game, as he filled in. Remember at that time, we were all, especially me, was like, who? What is happening? And he didn't play bad at all, sincerely. And that game was pretty close for 3 quarters, and then things just got away from us. Eventually, just, we didn't have enough bodies. But, hey, he's filled in nicely when he's gotten his opportunities. He played a ton in that wild card playoff game when Kyron broke his hand, unfortunately, against the Lions a couple postseasons ago. Obviously got his opportunity in that Niner game where he started, and I thought played well. Wasn't great, wasn't like wow, but you're like, all right, well that could be a starting running back, and you wouldn't explode. Your offense wouldn't implode, I should say, a better word. But hey, Rams have a type, right, Mark? Small running backs who can hide behind the big lineman.
Yeah, I mean, Ronnie Rivers has never disappointed. Every time
Sure.
he's been asked to answer the bell, he's played well. And it's gotten to the point where there are times where he's had to take the field for this team, and I feel okay with it. It's I'd rather have Kyron out there, obviously, but not that much of a drop off, but totally comfortable with Ronnie Rivers being our lead back in an emergency situation.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Farbod?
Yeah, I agree with that. All that, guys. I mean, look, it's funny. You look at it this way, right? So obviously, we're gonna tier our running backs, right? Kyron 1, Blake 2, and then Ronnie 3. Okay, yeah, they're better in that order, but they're almost the same back.
Sure, yeah.
They share the exact. So it's almost like we drafted Blake to be the emergency for Kyron, and Ronnie's just the emergency for both of them. Because correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Has Ronnie ever gotten hurt? Has he ever missed time due to an injury?
Yeah, not that I'm
I
aware
don't
of.
think so.
I don't think so.
No.
So it's the ultimate insurance policy. I know we drafted Blake to be that guy, but the guy broke his hand last game of the season, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
Ronnie's that guy, and hopefully we do still get a speedster, but for now, no worries.
And he had that really big special teams play. Remember, what game was that with the fake punt, right?
Absolutely.
So he's a special teams contributor too.
Yeah, I mean, that was going to be the point I was going to immediately bring up too, Mark, was about it's the value of special teams as well. We need bodies to go out there and be athletic and make plays, help the return game, help the kickoff, punt game. So he's got value in that. You need guys always filling in who know the offense and can play on that super, important side of the ball as well. So, hey, good to see him back. And I guess he needs, whatever juju's going on with him filling in for running backs breaking their hands and he gets opportunity. We need no more of that. Kyron, Blake, we don't need any more of that, Ronnie. All right, I know you want to play, dang it, but no more. But good to have him back. I feel comfortable him getting playing time, of course. That's good. Good things for sure. But the next signing, Rams Nation, not a re-sign, somebody new coming in, as many of you had hoped for other big name players at this specific position. But we are getting here inside linebacker Landman, as my graphics are always acting a little funny here. Late Landman joins the Rams as somebody who we all were like, who? I wasn't familiar with this game, sincerely. I was not. There was somebody, I was not paying attention to the Atlanta Falcons defense this whole last season or two, truthfully. That's just the reality. And watching some of his tape, I haven't gone through all his tape the last 2 years, and I know people will argue, we'll get into it. People would argue that the 2023 season was better. We'll talk about it. But I haven't gone through all of it. What I think he is right now, just if I can give you a one-sentence things, Rams Nation, is an aggressive run stopper. And I think that should describe a ton of what the Rams think of themselves with this signing, with the Puna Ford signing to be the nose who can pass rush, nose tackle, and where they felt after losing bad against the Eagles on the ground, and in other games too where they got a little bit gashed. So Nate Landman joins the Rams, the former Atlanta Falcon who is familiar with this 3-4 scheme, as he had got at least 1 year of it with Raheem Morris, our former Super Bowl champion DC, this past season, as they chose not to bring him back. And we'll say, we'll take him, as the Rams don't like to pay linebackers, inside linebackers, as we know. But your Mark, yeah, your thoughts on Nate joining the squad?
Well, I like what I see. He's obviously going to answer, fill a void that we need once again. What I'm not sure about him is, is he going to play alongside Omar Spates? Is he kind of the
Yeah.
same guy?
I think
He's
Mark, real
obvious.
quick, as of today, yes, right? I mean, who else?
Yeah, right. But
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I could see them maybe fighting for the starting position as the primary inside linebacker. I don't really know, but he's obviously going to be a liability in coverage. So I don't think he's a 3 down linebacker. But I feel like you kind of hinted at what I was going to go to here is I feel like the Rams are gearing up to beat the Eagles. To to address a problem they had against probably their biggest conference opponent. If they want to get to the Super Bowl, it probably goes to Philadelphia, and Poona Ford and Nate Landman address that. I still think we need, an off ball, a linebacker that's good in coverage. And I think we're still missing that. So, but as far as linebacker depth and throwing another, a really good tackler, run stopper on the roster, hey, I'll take one of those all day long.
Yeah, same. What about you, Farbod? Your thoughts on Nate?
Well, first off, guys, it's pretty cool. He's Zimbabwean. He's from Zimbabwe. That's pretty neat, I think. He was also an undrafted free agent, just like Omar Spates. So how ironic would that be if they both end up starting? And we just love UDFAs to be our inside linebackers. Hey, why not?
Yeah.
They earned it, right?
Yeah.
But guys, I do think if you go back and watch Nate Landman's film, he's not bad at coverage. I think he can actually step up there. He's got some picks in his career. He's got returns on them too.
Yeah.
I don't know. He might surprise us on that, guys.
Yeah.
I'm super stoked about that pick, about this signing. I think he can be our starter. I hope there's competition. There always should be at the end of the day. But if he does end up starting, I think he's just the aggressive tackler. Will play pass coverage if we ask him to. I think it's worth a shot to see what he can do for us. And he seems to have that want. Being a UDFA, we just find those guys that are just hungry, that want to get on the field and will do the extra step, just like an Omar Spates and others, right?
Yeah.
I'm rooting for him, man. I love it.
Yeah, and again, Rams Nation, I'll have a better idea as I go through some tape. Anyone who tunes in, I'm a tape junkie. I'll find out the nitty gritty, as I'm sure you've been watching a little bit deeper than I. But the argument people have had in terms of our Rams community has been that Landman had a fantastic 2023, and then Raheem's scheme, a little more different responsibility, wasn't as impactful. But look, we need help in the run game. Yes, when Omar Spates and Christian Roseboom were paired up to be the starters, it was much better than Troy and Roseboom. Duh. We've been arguing that since that pairing was joined together. But Rams Nation, for anyone who was like, why not CJ Mosley? Why not whoever you have in the back of your brain? The Rams don't give a crap about spending money on a inside linebacker. Not outside. They'll pay the good money for those guys. Inside linebacker, they never will. And when they did, they said, sorry, Bobby Wagner, you were an all-pro, but this money thing ain't working out for us. And, there's always like, hey, they both wanted to win. Rams had a disaster year, and who knows? Maybe the season went well. They would have kept him. I think they probably would have one more year. But the one time they did it, they regretted it because it was like, hey, that was a waste of money. His skill set really didn't affect wins or losses, which is a shame. But think about it. Corey Littleton. Mark Barron was a converted safety that they had go down there. Alec Ogletree they bailed on him 1 year into the McVay regime.
Micah Kaiser.
Micah Kaiser, then, he got hurt, unfortunately, and that was the end of that. Then we go into, made a trade for, when we sent Marcus Peters away and we got, I'm blanking on his name, number 41 in the Super Bowl season. Kenny Young.
Oh, yeah.
He was obviously a low-round draft pick. Obviously, UCLA. Was playing great football. Bailed from him during the Super Bowl season, maybe after week 4, week 5. And then, obviously, Ernest Jones, third-round pick. That's a valuable one. But, again, shipped his ass away, and we still don't have full details on what happened there. And we can go on and on. I can go on and on, but you get the picture here, Rams Nation. Superstar inside linebackers, not happening. We win without them, and we've continued. So don't get your expectations up. Hopefully, Nate Landman, if he has to start, will play good. But based on some film, he could start. And you shouldn't feel, oh my gosh, about it. But again, we still got the draft. Still a lot of things to play out. But we'll see. We'll see.
Something else too, Ian. If you think about it, Jimmy Lake used to be on the Falcons. He's with us now as a defensive consultant, I believe. And of course, there's the history with Raheem. So you gotta assume that there's been conversations between Raheem, Sean, Lester, Jimmy, all these guys, and I'm sure there's some sort of talk they had that this guy is going to be a fit with us. So it's going to be interesting. Hopefully, it works out.
Oh yeah. You know how this league goes, man. It's who you know. I mean, like in any occupation you do, right? Who do you know? What do they say about people? Bring your people. I trust him. I'll give my life for him. All those things. I'm sure that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I could see.
That's a good point.
That's a good point. Chris and Raheem on the phone talking. Hey, he's not a fit here, but you guys should take a look at him.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. We shall see what happens, Rams Nation. But again, if you have been under a rock and not seeing what's going on in Rams land, Nate Landman joins the Rams as an inside linebacker. Maybe day one starter, maybe not. We shall find out. As we go through real quick, some other fun little stats. 6'3", 240 from Danville, California. Team captain at the University of Colorado, 4-time All-Pac-12, 3 years with the Falcons, 23 starts, 192 tackles, 6 forced fumbles, and an excellent run defender based on Mark's film watching he's done himself. As again, PFF had him rated really high in 2023 with run defending, 2024 not so much, but there's always the ebbs and flows. PFF is not the Bible of football, everyone. It's a metric you enjoy. There's some stuff you can take from it, but don't take it as the Bible, as I know people do. Again, take it as a viewpoint, but you got to watch with your own 2 eyes too. Never forget that.
Yeah, 2 other notes on him. He was the 5th rated linebacker coming out of high school in the state, and he was also a very productive wide receiver in high school.
Oh.
So maybe some special teams work in there for him.
Oh yeah, I mean he'll contribute in some shape, way, or fashion. Hopefully it's something good with defense, but special teams, so be it. A depth piece at the minimum. We'll take it for sure. As we move on here, Rams Nation. So we have some questions to talk amongst ourselves, but then also we want to hear from you. Not only what your thoughts are about all the re-signings from Ahkello, from Murchison to Rivers, to our new signing, Landman, at inside linebacker. We want to know your thoughts on that, of course. But we have questions coming up that we also want to hear your feedback on as we discuss question by question here. And we'll start off with the very first one. And it has to go with the theme of running backs and our depth and the room as it is right now. Would the Rams draft a running back with a high pick this upcoming year? What do you think, Rams Nation? Do you think it would be a second rounder like a Cam Akers? Would it be a third rounder like Darrell Henderson? Or would it be a later round pick like we got Kyron in the 5th, or any other player that in Rams, recent McVay history where we've snagged, right? A John Kelly in the 6th, 7th round, something like that. But I'm saying a high draft pick, rounds 1, 2, or 3. But I'll start with you, Farbod. Do you think McVay, less need, as we know McVay has a lot of sway in these in personnel. Let's just call it what it is.
Especially the offense.
Yeah, I mean, he has a lot to say. And I think that's a good thing, right? You want your coach who's going to be coaching these guys up, and that is a specialty to know. But, he gets his eyes set on somebody, right? Like a Blake Corum they drafted in the 3rd this last season. They'll be like, let's get him. So do you think they will spend a high draft pick, again, round 1, 2, or 3 this upcoming season?
Well, first of all, let's get a second round pick first. We don't have one yet. If we get one somehow, I could see the earliest 2, if not 3. I'm leaning towards a 3rd, the earliest, honestly, Ian. Just because the type of back we're looking for is not going to be someone who necessarily does it all. We don't need that. Kyron more or less is that, except for that burst ability. If we can get a guy who just has mainly that burst ability, he should be available for us in the 2nd or 3rd round. We don't have to reach to get that guy, I'm assuming. who knows how the draft will go, especially if the draft goes like last year's and everyone just gets offense for the first 20 picks. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'd say though. I think second or third rounder. So early too. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. What about you, Mark? Do you think they spend a first, second, or third rounder on a running back again?
Well, you know what? It's complicated. Um, Kyron Williams on the last year of his contract.
Yep.
Sean McVay alluding to the fact, suggesting he wants to change up this offense a little bit. So maybe he's going to go for a different type of back, like Farbod suggested, a home run hitter. And there are some really good running backs, I think, that'll be available later. My concern is if you're drafting for this year, it doesn't make any sense. If you're drafting for next year, I guess it does. If they draft a running back, and any running back they draft is probably not going to see the field. We've seen this from McVay, right? He's just not willing to do that. Maybe, he drafts a running back equivalent of Puka Nacua that just blows everybody away, and he finds a way to get him on the field and get him the ball. So I'm kind of hoping they emphasize other positions early in the draft. So I would say later, that's what I would do. I have no idea what Sean's going to do. He, like you guys say, he latches on to players he loves and he drafts them. But I think there's other positions I'd rather see them draft: tight end, wide receiver, cornerback, for example.
Yeah. And my thoughts, Rams Nation, do they do it? I think let's just give a scenario here. And that's how we're doing this, right? That's the only way. Let's just say for whatever reason that Trayvon Henderson, the Ohio State running back, is there late. One of our compensatory picks that we got for Raheem Morris. This extra one we wouldn't have had that we now do have because of Raheem, bailing to or getting hired to the Atlanta Falcons. I think they'd be very tempted. I think McVay would be tempted to draft him. Why? Because there's an explosive nature to his game that, not to say that Blake Corum or Ronnie or Kyron cannot get to, but the dude was making big-time plays against Travion Henderson, the Ohio State running back, making huge plays in playoff games. He showed the speed. His combine was fantastic. And I think McVay would be really tempted. I think they would, because I don't think they're going to get Kyron Williams re-signed. Truthfully, I just don't. Unless Kyron's willing to take a big discount with the money he thinks he deserves, which, again, he's been an all-pro. He's been a good player. He's got the fumbling issue that's costing him millions. Let's call it what it is. Kyron, if your people are watching here, stop fumbling the damn football. You're costing yourself millions of dollars. Seriously. And you're making us want to pull our hair out, too, just from that own perspective. But every fumble, that's an M gone away. So, that coupled with, if a Travion Henderson is there, I think McVay would be super tempted, and I'd say it's like 60-40 they would pull the trigger, truthfully.
I'd be okay with that as long as he plays him, this year. Yeah. And if he's good as you say, he probably would see the field.
Yeah. And
there's nothing wrong with rotating these backs a little bit, right? Start rotating his backs a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And then it would be, hey, then we have Blake, we have Travion to be the duo for the next couple seasons together. And I feel like that would probably work out, to be honest with you. But we'll see what happens. It's a hypothetical. I don't expect Travion to be late third round, but if it happens, I think 60-40 it would. So that's the question there. But Rams Nation, let us know in the comments along with our others. Do you think the Rams would use a high draft pick? Again, you can do a scenario like I explained. But, man, we'll see what the hell happens with that. But our next question at Rams Nation, outside of running back, who the hell do you think the Rams are going to pick with, again, no trades, no trade up, no trade downs, at pick number 26, with many people mocking in Colston Loveland, the tight end from Michigan. Many people starting to mock in the running back, Benjamin Morrison, as they think he is a schematic fit.
Cornerback.
Cornerback, sorry. I read that wrong. Defensively. Jihad Campbell, the inside linebacker with the Crimson Tide, someone who in our last mock draft we took in the first round for best player available and a need. And then wide receiver Luther Burden from Missouri, who people also think is a good scheme fit as a young player as well. But these are just ideas. These are just things we've read, Mark has read, and all of that. But again, Rams Nation, let us know in the comments, who do you think the Rams should pick at 26 overall? No trades up, no trades down. We stay at 26, which I think is unlikely personally, and we'll see what happens there. But go ahead, Farbod. What do you think is going to happen at pick 26 if we stay put? And who would you pick?
Well, before I answer that, Ian, I really am curious to see if last year's draft is going to be the new normal going forward. Has the offense in this league become so much more important than the defense potentially that teams are just going to reach for offensive players early and mid in the draft? Like, did you guys ever even expect Jared Verse would be there at us at 19 last year? No one mocked that. No one expected that. So that's first thing. But if I was to pick from one of these four fine gentlemen here, I would probably go with Colston, guys. I mean, we all know how much McVay wanted to get Bowers last year. They tried, right? There's smoke to that fire to that smoke, whatever. They tried, they failed, but we're happy with Verse. Don't get me wrong. But Colston could be someone that does fall to us, and I think the tight end position could be something that we look to upgrade. I mean, Colby's not that guy, really. Doesn't look like it. Higbee's got maybe one more year left after this. We'll see. So we need that guy, and I think Colston could be that guy and start playing right away too, subbing in for Higbee.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
What about you, Mark? If we stay, obviously it's a lot of different scenarios that could go with quarterback movement and trades and all that, but who do you got at 26 realistically if we stood put there?
Yeah, Campbell, maybe there's a little less emphasis on linebacker now with the Landman signing, although I think it's a completely different kind of linebacker. I see one of the popular picks for the Rams right now is the cornerback. I think his name is Trey Amos, Ole Miss, he was totally off my radar, and suddenly he's a first rounder to the Rams. I think it would have to be between the tight end and the cornerback, and I'd probably lean on tight end because we add a solid threat at the tight end position. Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, these running backs we already have, a solid offensive line. It would be a scary offense. It really would be. And with Higbee, it's a scary offense to some degree, but I think Colston could take it to another level.
Yeah. I think I would have to lean that way as well. Like, what is the hole that you need addressed with a first round pick, right? You need to find a starter. Now, I thought when Higbee returned, I thought he was playing pretty dang good football, and I thought he was a big difference every time he was out there. And yes, Colby Parkinson had some good moments throughout the season, but that contract is shitty. Let's just call it what it is. Did not live up to it. He got Tyler Higbee money to be nowhere near close. We saw when Higbee was back how big of a difference it was. And what a legit starting tight end looks like and, gets money for in that, respect. And again, not to talk crap about Colby. He's a SoCal, LA native guy. Hey, respect. You got a lot of money. You contributed. You caught a touchdown in the playoff tournament. You block. Respect all that. But the difference making we need in the passing game is not there. And I expect not only him to be gone, possibly even before this season starts. Let's just be honest. But definitely after this season, he's not going to be around. No way. I'd say it's a 70% chance Tyler Higbee isn't back around unless he has an all-pro season. It's the only way. Because he's been banged up. His contract is up after this upcoming 2025 season. And so with those two likely scenarios happening, who is that tight end of the future that could be relied upon blocking, and then who could be a threat in the passing game like a Tyler Higbee? I think the Michigan tight end Colston Loveland just makes too much sense here. If he is there at pick 26, runs great crisp routes, blocks, is used to a power running scheme. Is there other things I wish were a little bit better? I wish he was a little more aggressive when he has the run after catch. I wish he would, to have a little more of a bulldozer mentality. Sometimes I don't need it all the time. I get it. Don't want to just be taking shots just to take shots. Not everyone's a maniac like Rob Gronkowski, ready to just run over anybody no matter what. But those are things the rookies could figure out as time goes on. And I just think it would just make a lot of sense for the contribution for this upcoming season right, to supplant Colby Parkinson and be on the field with Tyler, and then for the future, for many years to come, with the next iteration of Sean McVay offense. So that would be my pick. Again, got to see how the draft falls, Rams Nation. But realistically, let us know in the comments. Who do you got at pick 26? Realistically, who do you want? Let us know for sure. But Rams Nation, as we go in and we speak about players and hoping guys to continue to play well and all that as well, we're going to say and ask you and talk amongst ourselves here, who's a Rams breakout player in 2025, as we'll show a quick little graphic of who we think, some guys that come to mind, right? We have Jordan Whittington, a fan favorite of this podcast for sure. Blake Corum, who we enjoyed seeing when he got opportunities and he had some big runs, but it seemed like it was always a freaking holding penalty. Darion Kendrick, could he just be a surprise starter? Could that happen? Could it be Tutu Atwell, who finally looks like he's going to see the field a lot more, please? Or could it be Davis Allen, the tight end we're all not talking about? Could he be, just have a breakout season and emerge? Or could it be anybody else that we're not naming here or not pictured as well? So I'll ask you, Mark, who do you think's a player in 2025 for the Rams is going to have a breakout season like, oh, wow, he's legit. Thank God.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with Tutu. I think Sean McVay brought him back for a purpose. And I think he wants to tool this offense, change it up a little bit. Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Tutu Atwell, I think will be the three primary receivers. I think Jordan Whittington, my gut feeling, my guess really is that Whittington will be take a backseat to Tutu as far as the top three receivers. And I think they're going to find a way finally to get him involved. And, Tutu's already proven that he's a decent player. So it wouldn't be a breakout compared to some of these other guys if they were to break out, but I still think he's going to have that season we've all been waiting for. And just guessing here, if Blake Corum gets his chances, it could be him. I could be wrong. Maybe it's Jordan Whittington that gets the snaps, but or one of the tight ends. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Farbod? Who do you think's a player that's going to break out for us in 25?
Well, I'm definitely between Whittington and Tutu, but honestly, I'm leaning towards Whittington. I definitely do think that Tutu's going to have a bigger role than he has ever had in this offense because of the contract he got. Sure, that's fair. He's only speedster as of now. But remember, guys, McVay loves 11 personnel. He needs our receivers to block. Tutu, I don't love him blocking. He's a little on the smaller side. Whittington is a capable blocker. I think how well Whittington played for us last year, besides us, of course, eventually getting Devontae, was a huge reason we were willing to let Kupp walk. I think with Whittington, what he's able to do on special teams and on the offense, I do expect him to have a much bigger year 2 in this complicated, complex offense that can probably confuse the hell out of him in his rookie year, and he's only going to get better year 2, I'm assuming. We'll see.
Yeah, look, at Tutu's the obvious because he's getting $10 million fully guaranteed, and it's like, you better play the damn man. And for anyone who was tuning in during the regular season, me, Mark, and Paul, when he was joining us, and others, we all communicated with each other in the comment section. We were all just like, why is Tutu and Jordan Whittington not seeing the field more? So it makes sense now that Kupp is out of the picture. I still won't get used to him in his Seahawks uniform, by the way.
Never.
Now that, they're going to have more opportunities being, uplifted in the depth chart naturally, it makes sense. And I would have chosen Tutu if none of you had said it, or Jordan Whittington, truthfully. But I think somebody who we all enjoyed seeing playing good football last season, who I think now that he has a year under his belt, someone who's like, okay, this is what it takes to play good football. This is what it takes to play playoff football. And what I need to do to get ready to continue that pace. I think Omar Spates is ready for a breakout season, our inside linebacker. Why do I say that? Because yes, he had his fantastic preseason. We're like, oh, that guy could play. And look, I hold a lot of reservation for preseason on purpose. It's not the same speed. We play backups. We play against other backups and third stringers. But, he stood up. And then when he got his opportunity, played good. And I feel like he got better and better as the year went on, as he was, strip sacking Jalen Hurts in our final playoff game this last season and holding his own in the run game. Wasn't perfect against, is anyone really perfect against the Eagles, Hall of Fame O-line? No, but I think this next year for him, again, being the Mike linebacker, being the main inside linebacker, the one who will stay on the field majority of the time, or 24/7, you can call it. I think it's time for him, and I expect it for him to have another step forward to be a breakout guy where you can see a big leap from a starter who played a bunch to like, oh, he's hitting another gear. I think that's someone we'll see, and I hope to see that. I hope to see that. And
Do you think,
good
Ian?
choices, though.
Here's an X and O question for you. Sort of, kind
Yeah.
of. Would the presence of Devonte Adams benefit Tutu or Jordan more? Do you think?
The presence of Devontae, that's a great question. So let's think about it big picture, Rams Nation here. So our offense is 11 personnel primarily, even though that irritates me. I like to see we get more multiple, and I can hope to continue to see that. In if Loveland comes in here, gets drafted. But Puka is an all-around receiver. You could call him the F, right? That's usually X. If you picture it, if you're writing the alphabet, Rams Nation football fans out there, X, Y, and Z. If you're writing it from left to right. The X usually means a receiver by himself. A Y usually means a tight end that you can, just like a chessboard, put him wherever you want. And the Z would be a receiver that's always in conjunction with another receiver, not all the time, but just basic level traditionally, right? X, Y, and Z. Now, as offenses have evolved, then you started to get just random words, but we call it the F, which is what Cooper Kupp did. And all our receivers get interchange in all of them. Luckily, we had a lot of talented guys that could do it all. Now, you have that position. Devontae is an X receiver. Put him out there one-on-one, win the jump balls, win the one-on-ones, crazy catches. And not that Nakua hasn't done that either, by the way, which makes it dangerous because they're both are interchangeable. They both could be an X on a play. They could both be a Z. They both could be an F. They both could be a Y. Now, Tutu's a smaller body, and so is Jordan Whittington's not a small guy, but they're not bigger people than Puka or Devontae. But I feel like they could do all the same things as well. I feel like they're not limited. Any four of our top receivers are not limited at all. But to your point, does Devontae open it up? I think so, because I think you have to respect Devontae or Puka one-on-one at the X spot, which then leaves lesser talented corners on Tutu, regardless of the setup. And you could, like I said, you could put Tutu on that X spot and let him just run by like he did Chardavius Ward against the Niners in week 3. Remember that? I mean, Chardavius was playing cover 3, if my memory serves me correctly. It may not be right. Apologies. But he was backed up about like 7 yards away from Tutu. And cover 3 is where, hey, you're responsible that whole deep side of that part of the field. And he was backed up, had that back part, and still got outran by Tutu on that big bomb late in the fourth quarter. If you remember that Rams issue when we had that comeback against the 49ers. So no matter where Tutu is by himself, Z, X, Y, F, whatever alphabet number you want to throw at it, he's dangerous. And Devontae being added to this group, I mean, it's only going to open up opportunities for him. Whittington when he gets playing time, and obviously Puka with all his normal 1,000-yard plus seasons.
I think this is going to be the McVay, the mad scientist this season. He's got a lot more things at his disposal, even more than when he had Cooper and Puka. I think it's going to be fun to watch.
Real quick, Rams Nation. I know I've been rambling about it for a little bit. I mean, he just wants to get back to what he did during the Super Bowl 2021 season run. He wants 2 receivers that are just basically, what are you going to do when you double one of them, right? You want to cover Kupp on this play? No problem. OBJ for 25 yards on a deep in dig route.
Exactly.
Oh, you want to shade a little bit more on OBJ because he's been killing you on those, deeper routes, out routes, in routes, corner, whatever. I mean, OBJ was fantastic that playoff run for us that season. All right, Cooper Kupp on a triple option route. I'm just making up a name real quick. On a triple option out and up corner, or like that double move he did that he explained against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in that game where they blew them out early in the season before the playoff matchup. Where he's like, well, me and Matthew just kind of made something up, and Sean liked it, and I could do it, so I did it. He did like a triple move to get in the end zone. That's what McVay wants. He wants something like that where it's like, all right, pick your poison. We got a guy who can make it right on the outside.
And you got the quarterback too,
Devontae, and then we got the speedster Tutu. And I'm a big fan of Jordan Whittington as well. So I think that's what he wants. And I think if everything goes right, it could be an Allen Robinson situation where everything looks fantastic in practice, preseason. Holy crap, look at these acrobatic catches. And then it all just went to shit. That could happen. I get it. But I think that's what McVay wants. And I think we'll get at least some variation of that at the minimum. We'll see what happens, though.
I just wish we could get that tape that McVay sent to Devontae and narrated it.
Yeah.
McVay, upload that to YouTube, man. We want to see that tape.
Yeah. Sorry, that's in the archives of how to recruit players as a head coach. They'll stay in the Rams office camera logs for wherever those calls are happening. I'm probably they weren't there. They probably had some vacation spot. McVay likes to travel. But anyway, Rams Nation. Again, who do you think the Rams breakout player is going to be in 2025? Let us know in the comments. And then our last question to you and to discuss here, Rams Nation. And it's a fun one because it's very up in the air how the rest of the division is going to play out with all the movement and just how much upgraded we feel and how a lot of the league feels that the Rams have done. Who are the Rams' biggest threat in 2025? Who do you think that is, Mark? I'll start with you.
Well, I think the Rams have the best roster top to bottom without a question. I think the Cardinals are headed in the right direction, but I think it's going to be baby steps. The Seahawks are flipping the script. I think it was a smart move. The decisions they're making, they're making a lot of good decisions. I still think they're a little bit of ways, though. And the 49ers, they still have a really good core there. They have a really good coaching staff, and they have that fourth place schedule. So, and that could end up being a big deal. So I still think it's the 49ers. I really do.
That's fair. And I just realized, again, Rams Nation, who's the biggest threat to the Rams in the NFC West? You can share your thoughts about the whole conference and obviously AFC as well. But I'll ask you, Farbod, who do you think the biggest threat to the Rams this upcoming season in the NFC West to host another playoff game, basically? That's what we're fighting for.
Mm-hmm. I think as long as Shanahan's coaching the Niners, they're going to be our biggest threat, regardless of who's on the team, in essence. I mean, he's got his quarterback still, Purdy, and he's got the system. And as long as they don't deal with the amount of injuries they did last year, too, they're going to be a threat because obviously that was we know what that felt like ourselves in 2022. But Seahawks got Kupp. That hurts. And maybe that does make him more of a threat to us. But at the end of the day, I don't think Shanahan's the better coach. Their quarterback situation's still up in the air. I don't know, maybe Darnold's the guy. I don't know. But, and Cardinals, I'm not worried about them. I don't know. But definitely I'm going to stick with the Niners just because of Shanahan. It's the coach, just like with us with McVay. They got the next one in Shanahan.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And I have to agree with that. I'm going to choose the Santa Clara 49ers. They're not in San Francisco. They move far away from there. I like to throw that little jab in there every now and then. But all jokes aside, though, it is them. Why? Because I'm not going to trust a second-year head coach with a rebuilding team, new quarterback, new receivers for the most part, new culture, all this stuff. And again, they have a talented roster, but I got to believe it to see it, how that all comes together with the Seattle Seahawks. Okay. Then we go down to the next team, would be the Arizona Cardinals. I've been hearing for years it's their year from many people for a while now. Yes, they whooped our ass in week 2, and there's times where that's going to happen. Did they, they should have beaten us in that week 17 Saturday night game, but Ahkello Witherspoon saved our season. Tip my imaginary cat to you, Ahkello, again for that moment. Wow. And look, I'm not saying they're a bad team, but I'll believe it when I see it with them too, right? Obviously, they got re-signed Buda Baker. Kyler could go off on you. We've seen that firsthand. James Conner's a good running back, and yada 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 with their players. And they've brought in Super Bowl superstars right to their team. But I gotta see it to believe it for them to host the West and to win the West. And then again, back to the 49ers, a head coach that's good. Maybe a choker to many of you, and then there's some truth in that. An all-pro running back we were ready to give up serious draft capital for ourselves. He's looking to be healthy. We'll see, though. Fred Warner, an all-pro. George Kittle, an all-pro. Brock Purdy, a quarterback who plays good against us. other than the rain game, but he's had good career games against us. You have Robert Sala, their DC's returning, who always had good game plans against us. Even the years when we were better than them, like the 2020 season, and we were still losing against them when they had another injury riddled season for the 49ers, we still couldn't beat them. They had good schemes going on, and I know there was other reasons for that. That, and then they still got good players. Bosa's still there. He's still a pain in the ass, all pro level player. You still have tons of just plug and play guys. It seems they do every other year where they, that corner you didn't hear of, ends up being pretty good. That safety that got drafted late, ends up being pretty good. So I have no doubt in my mind they're gonna play us tough. It's gonna be nail biter for forever, regardless of everyone's retool, rebuild situation. No different from ours last season and other previous years where we were retooling, rebuilding. We still gave them a tough time. So 40ers until they completely blow it up. They haven't yet. Haven't paid Purdy the super contract yet either, which would hamper all those things. So, 49ers for sure. And I think some betting ons out there I'd seen that they're favored. Ugh, I don't like that.
Ridiculous, man. The hate the Rams get. Ridiculous, bro. What more do we have to do as a franchise to be the favorite in our division again? Like, come on.
Yeah. Now, I think, you know what I think it is real quick, and I'll say it and I'll finish off. I think because we're first place schedule coming up this season. We won the West. They were a last place schedule. They're getting people back. We just named a bunch of good players and they're coaching. So I understand the thought of them, not dwelling at the bottom of the division again with 6 wins. But for them to just be outright winning it, I don't like that energy out here, Mark.
And I think the public is always going to lean 49ers over the Rams. That's just the way it is. And I'm okay with that. The public is usually wrong, right? And they money goes on the Steelers, Cowboys, Raiders, 49ers, that public money ridiculous. That really shouldn't. And that's the way it is.
Yeah, true. It's a bunch of suckers out there. Don't be wasting your money with illogical bets, all right? I know you talk a little crap to your friends, talk a little crap on the pod and whatever else in the comment section, Twitter, Instagram, wherever else. But don't get suckered in on these weird bets. That's a weird bet right there. Be careful spending money on if you see any other division or any other money. But if you're a Rams fan, put your money on the Rams winning it. That's good money. That's good value right there. I'll say that for second place, whatever they're at right now. But against Rams Nation, let us know in the comments as well. Who's the biggest threat to the Rams in the NFC West this upcoming 2025 season? Who's going to give us a harder time? Who's going to fight for that home playoff game against us? Again, injury aside, everyone stays healthy, of course. But man, the season, I just can't freaking wait. People are getting signed last minute. Maybe there's more fun signings to come up, Rams Nation. Maybe there's trades that happen. I doubt it. That'd be fun, though. And then another fun little thing, I've been seeing a lot of uniform talk going around, and I've really been involved in that over the years, as I've seen a lot now, people chiming in to be like, this is what I would do to a Rams uniform if I had to make tweaks. This is what I would do if I had complete control over everything, design, logos, and all that. So I'm just going to ask you for fun while you're here, Farbod, and we're on this subject. We got a little extra time here with you. If you had complete control over what the Rams wear, logos, and everything, what are you choosing? It could be a new design, it could be old, whatever it is. What is it?
It's the navy and gold, brother. This is a navy and gold Stafford jersey. I got this custom made because those are I used to think we had the best jerseys in the league when we had that. The navy and gold's so classic to me. I love it. I know it's St. Louis. I know, but I don't know, man. The navy and gold to me, it's perfect to me. I love that. Bring that back, please.
I feel you on. I feel there's a lot of people that grew up with that time. I mean, so did I. That's what I remember the first of Ram football. So I totally get that. What about you, Mark? If you had complete control over what the Rams wear and logos and all that, what would you choose?
I'm not really a big uniform guy, but there's something about the blue and white, just the plain blue and white, that always gets me going. And they've had variations of it, I think, over the years, going back to the 60s. And I'm looking at a photo I've shown you, Ian, once before of the the Aqib Talib, Sue, Aaron Donald, Marcus Peters defense, and they're in white and blue. I'm not sure
Yeah.
which variation that
I like
is.
that white horn look. That was nice.
Yeah, yeah, I like the white. I like the white and blue. It's just a matter of taste, but I also like the ones they've worn this year at times with the I think it's the yellow. Is it the yellow pants or blue pants? I'm not even sure. I know it when I see it, but I watch a game and I may be unique in this way, and I don't. After the game, I couldn't even tell you which uniform they were wearing.
No, I know. At a certain point, who gives a damn? Win football game. I'm
Yeah.
totally on board with
Yeah,
that.
I
But
go and try to find pictures for the YouTube channel, and I'll grab a picture, and then I'll realize it was from a game 3 years ago, from uniforms they don't even have anymore. So
I
yeah,
know
I'm
it's.
not real smart on the uniforms.
I'm team traditional or team throwback, whatever classic, whatever you want to call it. I'm team that all the way. So if I look at Rams fans, if I was had freedom to do what I want, don't worry, I would get us right. As look at our uniforms now. Have I gotten over the rebrand? Yeah. Does it still bother me just looking at it as like looking at it? Uh, I guess what's the word I want to say? Analyzing it. Yeah. I'm not. I don't like the gradients. I don't like the name tag patch. I miss the traditional look of our classics. Right. We're talking. We're talking the classic Cup one, right, from the 2018 season. If that makes sense. We're talking what we wore at the Coliseum the last 3 seasons before going into SoFi Stadium. I get it. So if I had to choose, I would do a home and away version of that classic blue and yellow, right, with the solid horns. I would do a throwback of the 60s white with the gray fit, just go full throwback, right? It's something similar to what we wore at the Coliseum as well, but just do the full throwback version of that. And then I would also throw in shout out to all you yellow jersey fans out there. I'm one of them for sure. But I would do the traditional 50s style though. Not all yellow mustards. I wasn't a big fan of that. I know that the Chiefs game made those famous, and I was at that game. Great time. But I would do yellow jersey, white pants, blue socks, and honor that 1950s, world championship team that won it here in Los Angeles with all the Hall of Famers from that era. And I'd be fine with those four, right? I know everyone wants to go, oh, black alternate. Give us a yellow helmet alternate. And those could be fun if done right. But if I had a choice, I would do that. Just give me the classics and then give me a 50s throwback, give me a 60s throwback, and I'm all in on those. But to your questions, though, Rams Nation, as I bring up this uniform talk, and I'll end on this, people are like, hey, the 5-year window of a rebrand, embargo is over. So when you rebrand any NFL team, you are locked into those uniforms and logos for at least 5 years, 5 seasons. It has now been 5 years, 5 seasons since the Rams have unveiled the new logos and uniforms to the world back in 2020. So again, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So now we're entering the 25th season, which is now entering past that 5-year embargo. So can the Rams unveil completely new stuff to us in a month? Absolutely. Do I think they'll do it? Absolutely not. Because we won a world championship with this set of uniforms. We have had a winning organization with this rebrand. And I think if they do anything, any minor tweaks, Rams Nation, they might just get rid of the gradient on the home jerseys, might just get rid of the gradient stripe on the blue pants, and that's probably about it. And if they do that, I'll accept it, and I'll at least be happy with that. At the minimum, just get rid of those dang gradients. I don't want to look like a youth football team anymore with those. I've gotten used to them, but it's still just like, I'm like, what are we doing? So that's it. Expect that to be the only change if something happens. And we'll see. Which is why, I guess you can think, Big J journalism here, quote unquote. Why aren't the Puka and Devontae Adams jerseys just immediately being shipped out, right? Those should just be easy to print press and send them out. Why are they just pre-order? I know they're new numbers and all that, but makes you think maybe in half a month they'll be like, hey, we tweaked some things. Here's the new ones with no gradient, and I'd be happy to buy a Puka 12 jersey with no gradient. So just keep that in mind as you make your purchases going forward. But anyway, that was a fun little last question. But St. Louis Gold, I respect it.
All right, man. I was gonna say, or you can go and go to those third-party sites I do and get it right now, navy and gold Devontae Adams jersey. I might do
That's
that
right.
myself.
That's right. Shout out to all those. Shout out to any eBay reseller you've got. Shout out to anybody, any custom jersey seller. Shout out to I'll shout him out in here. He needs no paid advertising for this. The Throwback Joe, it's a website where he does just only Rams gear. Fantastic spot. Custom legit sewn jerseys, hoodies, baseball-esque Rams jerseys. It's pretty dang legit. So Rams Nation, if you're tired of paying $180 for printed on numbers from Fanatics Nike, get yourself a good stitch jersey for around $100 from Throwback Joe or so. But anyway, that was the last question. But Rams Nation, let us know in the comments. If you had the choice over what the Rams wore uniform-wise, what would you pick? And I'm sure I have a good idea of what that would be. But with that, Rams Nation, and you, thanks for tuning in. And Farbod, thanks for tuning in with us today, man. That was fun. It goes by fast, I know.
Yeah, flew.
But tell us a little about yourself before we get out of here, though. Where does your fandom start? And just a quick little summary, if you like. Nothing. You don't have to go too deep. Don't worry.
Yeah, I became a Rams fan in third grade in 1999. We won the Super Bowl, jumped on the bandwagon. We sucked for a long time after that, in middle and high school, especially high school. And then I just stayed with them, and now we're excellent. We're an amazing team, and it's just amazing how the NFL is cyclical, and I'm able to be a fan of the team that I was when I was a little kid. And diehard fan. I went to my first Rams home game actually in 2022 in the shit season on Christmas Day, where we destroyed the Broncos with me and my wife, and that was incredible. I've been to like 10 or 12 Rams games, but that was my first home game. Last season, I went to the Rams Jets game. We froze our ass off. But we won that game too. So, yeah, I love seeing my Rams, and I love my Rams, man. And we're gonna win the Super Bowl next year. You heard it here first. It's gonna happen, and it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, but I hope so too. Dang, it was fun having you on for sure. Anything, Mark, to tune in on that?
Pardon?
No, yeah, something to say. Sorry.
Oh no. I was wondering, is that the Bronco game? Was that the 45-0 game or something like that?
Close. It was like 45 to like 3 or 12 or something. Some low score on garbage time they scored.
I was at that game too, a family. That was a fun time.
Russell Wilson threw 4 picks that game, and I think 2 of them were pick sixes. And I'm surrounded by Rams fans. I started a Russell Wilson chant because he was so good.
Yeah. Russell Wilson probably has nightmares of playing against the Rams between that game and Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
Man, had some good.
That was a good game. Kobe Durant had a pick 6, I remember.
Yeah.
He had 2 of them or something like that. And then Bobby Wagner had a pick. Baker had a good game. Cam Akers had 3 touchdowns, I remember. That was one of his last good games as a Ram. I was at that game with family, so I remember it was good times in that disaster year too.
Yeah, you made the most of it.
That's right. Good times. But Mark, anything you gotta say before we get out of here?
No, that's about it. And Farbod, we'll get you back on another time. We're going to be rotating our friends of the show in on our round tables, kind of spice it up a little bit. And glad you could join.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah,
it's been a pleasure. Looking forward to next time.
Yes, sir. It was a fun time for sure. But Rams Nation, again, if you didn't get any of the questions that we talked about, go ahead and rewind the podcast, rewind this YouTube video, and again, whatever one you're comfortable with, or answer all of them. We'd be happy to see your replies in that. Gosh, what a fantastic day to talk Rams football. Lots of signings, lots of fun scenarios to go through, and uniform talk. It wouldn't be a Rams official conversation without uniform debates going on. That's what the fandom's at right now. It's fun. I enjoy it. But that'll do it here, Rams Nation, on this free agency episode here on the Rams Up Podcast Network. I'm Ian. That's Mark. Our special guest today, Farbod, and we'll have many more guests. And even you could be a guest coming up. Hit us up. We'll figure out a time and place that could work out for you if you want to come on here and talk some Rams football as well. But that'll do it here. Oh, baby, the season's right around the corner. Go Rams, baby.